Evil Dead fans, a subscriber asked about an Evil Dead 2 style chainsaw that they're doing, different things about it. I'm going to show a video right after this clip on the cuff and the flat top version. But he wanted to know about paint and different things, so I'm going to really break this down. It's going to be really quick, so pay attention. So when you get a plastic Homelite body, you can either get two handles. You can either get a metal handle or you can get a hard plastic handle. Now, if you get a metal body, you're going to get a metal handle no matter what. And the bolt pattern on the bottom is actually a lot different, or the screw pattern, because this is sideways. The holes are sideways on the plastic ones. The metal ones are up and down. Now, the proper one you want to have is the hard plastic. Now, to simulate the plastic one, if you have a metal one, I did this on Brick's chainsaw. What you want to do is you want to have it pre-cut, and on both of them, either handles, you'll want to cut it right where that hump is, because Evil Dead 2 style is a straight cut. Right where it gets a little bigger right here, that's your hack point. You want to cut that off, and you want to fill it in with Milliput. I've covered Milliput a million times. With the plastic one, it's just a straight cut. You don't want to fill in anything. But if you want to simulate the plastic look with a metal handle, you're gonna need a textured paint. And that actually will simulate that very well. And if you have a brown like this, you can just go over it with some black. A spray paint or just hand paint it, dab. It's actually better if you take an all-purpose black, usually satin, and just dab it on. Do about 3 coats, it'll look great. And that's what I did with Bricks. If you want to see what it looks like, just go back in the video of my working Comic-Con chainsaw hand. Now, when it comes to the body, for my Ash vs. Evil Dead, I use a apple red satin. Now, if you decide to go with that or the natural color of the chainsaw, and what I did with the one I called my baby, was it looks a lot darker. It actually was the natural chainsaw color. And the top, I made it to match, and I went over it with a very cheap black acrylic paint. And I would dab on sections, and with a paintbrush, and then I would dab it back off with a napkin or a paper towel, whatever you may have. And then my final coat would be an all-surface satin acrylic black. And the thing is, once you put this stuff on, the all surface stuff, and you let it dry, it is a pain in the butt to get off. The only way to get it off is do not use an industrial paint remover, because it will screw up the red paint as well. And you'll have to put a little elbow grease if you have to get it off. The best thing to use is Windex. So you may ruin another spot that you already finished. So be very, very diligent when you do the darkening, if you decide to do that. Now, if you want to bypass that, the whole cheap black paint stuff, you need to go with, for an Evil Dead 2 style, you need to go with a Colonial Red. Now, I don't know if this comes in satin. So the best option you have is to get this. Do not use a paint for automotive, because it will eat up your body of your chainsaw. If it's plastic, it will eat it up, it will warp it. Do not use anything automotive. Use something that's for plastic or for about anything. Now, if you have to go with the gloss Colonial Red, wait about a good week before you repaint it with like a satin clear, because with the 2X cover paint, it takes forever for it to cure, because if you have one spot that's not good, it will actually ribbon up. It will look like, I would say, tree roots growing, and you'll have to rip it all off and start over. So this stuff always says wait 48 hours. Bullshit. Wait about a good week. Put it in the sun. Don't put a heat gun to it, but just make sure it gets plenty of, like natural heat, so it can kind of bake in. So you want to definitely wait for that. If you have to use a gloss, then go back over with a satin clear. So yeah, if you want this kind and darken it in with all that process I've told you about, it takes a while and it's kind of a pain. You can do that, or use a natural chainsaw color, which even takes a little longer, since the Homelite XLs kind of have an orangish kind of color to it. Or you can bypass that and go with the Colonial Red if you're doing Evil Dead 2. You don't have to use the cheap paint. You can go straight to the all-surface satin black. So that will actually shorten down that time. So at this time, I did make a little video on the flat top and the cuff. I went step by step with the Evil Dead 2 part where he actually made the chainsaw. I'm gonna put that right now. And I did say at one point, I said flathead screw. It's actually a Phillips head. I did correct myself. I just want to recorrect that now. So I'm gonna show that right now. All right, well, we can see from the flat top version, you can see that the original bolts that were on the original Homelite XL top are right where they need to be. The toggle switch is right where it needs to be. So if you do a flat top version, just keep the top that you cut off so you know the placement of the bolts and the toggle switch. You'll notice the handle in the front goes all the way to the front, and that you really can't see, but I'll show you in another video that this back handle doesn't curve and connect. Okay, let's let that disappear real quick. Now, there's a little L bracket on the inside that has just one bolt. You really can't see it from this angle. And then it's held right here by a flathead screw. And this edge over here has been just chopped. Right where it curves down, just chopped just a little bit. Okay, and right here, if you're doing the flat top version, that side bracket connects over here. And that this other L-shaped bracket actually connects above that Phillips head screw that holds on to that other bracket. So you got one bolt up here, one screw actually covered by this L-shaped bracket, and the actual cuff piece connector is going to be one like the plumbing clamp that you can get from any hardware store. And that you can see there's a single strap, metal strap, covering what looks like to be rubber over a thicker clamp there. So there we are with that. Okay, right there, there's that piece of pipe clamp right there, holding it together. And you can see that bolt up top, that single bolt on that L-shape connected there, and that other edge of that inside L-shaped bracket, where that Phillips head is being covered up by that L-shaped bracket on the outside. And the bolts you want are going to be a little bit longer. Well, we rewind it just a little bit for you guys. Okay. So yeah, everything I just told you is it's the exact same right there. So that's where we're at right now. And yeah, chainsaws don't work like that. That chain has to be connected. That's just total movie screen stuff. So remember, in the back, it's connected on the inside by an L-shaped bracket, and then connected to the cuff on an L-shaped bracket on the outside, which is connected to the right at that bracket, that cuff bracket edge, right where it's got like a curl on it. Such as what I did, similar to what I did with Brick McSlab House's working chainsaw. So with that being said, that's just a few details for the flat top. All right, Evil Dead fans, we're gonna start with the chainsaw bar that should be proper for the Evil Dead 2 version. This is my Ash vs. Evil Dead chainsaw I'm gonna use for example here. Now, when you get a bar, you need to order a Homelite XL 20-inch, just a standard one. You do not want this extension piece. It's not in Evil Dead 2. That started in Army of Darkness. And you want to paint it black on both sides. You don't want to weather it, just paint it black, you're done. On the front here, now you've noticed I did shave this body line down, right here, this little bump, so I could fit this lip to this long bump lip kind of deal. Now on Evil Dead 2, They did not do that. Do not shave that down. Your top needs to come right to its this natural body line, about right here, and that's where it goes. So you're gonna have about that much of a gap. So if somebody says it comes all the way down, they're full of shit, okay? Just let you know. The front handle on the hump on the cabin version sits back about an inch. There's about an inch area from here to here. If you remember, the flat top comes all the way to the front, but the hump one goes back a good inch. The toggle switch is up front like this. I don't know if they had the on-off little tag here. You can put that on if you want, but I honestly think they didn't put that on there. Now, all the brackets for the back are exactly the same as the Workshed chainsaw. So this is the Ash vs. Evil Dead version. Look back on that, just rewind this video a little bit to know exactly where all the brackets are at. Those are exactly the same. The Workshed and the cabin one are exactly the same. The only difference for the cuff is this attachment here. Now, the Workshed one has one here. That's gone. This is your new attachment you're going to want to have. And now, that original cuff from the Workshed is the same one. The bolts are longer that stick out, and it actually is centered in the middle of that cuff from Evil Dead 2. So you have to look back on that. If you want to see kind of a simulation of it, an inexpensive way to do that, look back on the video I did on Brick McSlab House's working chainsaw I did. I did a certain kind of Evil Dead 2 style. It gave me all artistic freedom to do whatever I wanted, so it wasn't 100% accurate. I wanted to make something look cool, and it was as close as possible Evil Dead without having to worry about little details here and there. But it looks really good, regardless. Anyways, I'm going to flip this over. And if you're going to do an Evil Dead 2 style from the cabin, you're going to want this muffler piece, not the one that has the point on it. You want the rounded one. Now, the block piece came in Army of Darkness. It did not come in Evil Dead 2. As you remember, this lip right here still slopes down and then is just barely cut. So you'll want to go with an old method that I did on a past video. You want to use that piece, but not use a block. What I use is I cut out a pattern, cut it out in sheet metal, leave some area on the back of it and the bottom. I curl it down. These bolts are not here. I bolt it in from the bottom and then curl that side around. Now, if you're inserting your cuff, I cut it rounded so it just goes in snug against it. Now, if you do an insert or if you do a free hanging cuff where it sits against it, that's going to depend on what your top's going to look like, and we'll get to that in 2 seconds here. Now, let's go to the front. Now, on the Evil Dead 2 version, this top, this gap here, this from here to here is a lot closer. So you could cut that in half. And I have a ruler right here, and it's almost a ½ an inch. I'd say it's about a quarter of an inch. You could actually cut that in half. So you want a little closer. Now let's go to the back. Did the Evil Dead 2 cabin one extend out like the Army of Darkness or Ash vs. Evil Dead? No, it did not. It actually ended, the back actually ended right there. It came up at just a slight little angle right here. So your cuff is going to be actually right there against it. Now, you're going to lose some girth from here to here when you do that style, even if you insert. Now, I don't know what size of cuff you're using. This is the oversized 3-inch I always use. If you do a 3-inch, a normal 3-inch, you're going to lose a lot more. But when you do an Ash vs. Evil Dead, you're actually putting more of a cuff into it. This metal is actually going inside, so your hump's a little bit taller. Now, from the back here, we have about 1 inch. I'd say inserting, if you're using the same style I use, the same kind of PVC I use, you're gonna lose about a ½ inch, or pretty darn close to it. Now, if you look back on the Mutant, you can see how short that top is. So for about right there, it's gonna be that point. So my high point's right here. It's gonna be 1/2 inch right here. So basically it'll be from here, slopes up a little bit right there, then goes right back down to that point. The top on the Evil Dead 2 is a lot shorter. So I have 1 inch here. I'm gonna lose about a 1/2 inch. If you're using the same cuff, inserting, or even doing the free floating where it sits against it, which the free floating, you will have gaps. Just to let you know, you will have gaps. So it'd be about a 1/2 inch right there. You're gonna be just, see how it's like 1 inch and about 1/8. So you're gonna have 1/2 inch plus 1/8 at the high point, right there. And then just slope it down to, it's about 1/4 inch, split that in half to right there. So it's gonna be a lot lower profile, but you're still gonna have that nice slope. And that's basically it. I mean, there's a lot of differences. You know, when Army of Darkness happened, they went with a whole different kind of chainsaw style. You know, in the back, that's where that was cut off, that back right side of the body, the cuff changed. And there wasn't a lot of differences from Army of Darkness to Ash vs. Evil Dead. But Evil Dead 2 had a lot of differences. The bolts sticking out are a lot longer. Oh, and one more thing. Now, if you're doing the flat top, on the bottom, the straps that are attached, it is a dual strap system on the bottom of the Workshed one. So you're going to have 2. But if you're doing the cabin one, it's a single strap. It's a thicker strap or wider strap, single on the bottom. So you're only going to need 1 for that. So don't do the dual one if you're doing the cabin Evil Dead version. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions about this or anything else, let me know. I want to welcome all new subscribers. There's a new subscriber working on chainsaw right now in Army of Darkness style. His name is Nightmare, and I hope his build goes well. And he seems like a pretty, you know, nice guy. And I hope I can help him out any which way. And I can't wait to see what he's been building and to see the final product. And same with all you guys. I hope I helped you guys out. That's the point of these videos. And thank you for subscribing to my channel and dealing with my bull crap at times. But I appreciate every one of you guys. You guys have a great day.